Just the two of us. We can make it if we try. Just the two of us.
All right. Hello, everybody. This is our podcast, Should've, Would've, Could've. I am your host, Deandra, and your other host,
Christy.
Basically, we're just doing the podcast, mother-daughter style, and we're going to be talking about our relationship, how far we've come, and, just our journey as being, best friends, besties. You're my bestie.
Okay.
Are you not? Are you not my bestie?
I am
Are
definitely
you gonna
your
front?
bestie.
You gonna front for everybody?
I'm not gonna front on you, babe. I'm not gonna front on you.
That's crazy. See,
I'm not gonna front on you.
Already.
You are my bestie. Well, I'm your bestie. I'm your bestie. That's true, and you're my bestie too.
I don't have any other friends, so I mean, this is as good as it's gonna get for me. I feel like.
No, that's not true. And I want you to have friends outside of me and your auntie. I really want that for you.
I think it'll happen at some point, but for now, I think that you guys are it.
That's your only child syndrome peeking through.
Probably so, but I actually don't mind it. You know what I mean?
I know.
At this phase of my life, I just think that it's a great thing.
I know. And it is a great thing because honestly, most parents, mothers and daughters, wish they could kind of have that relationship, but I don't think they necessarily know how to get there. I think it just takes kind of a lot of healing and being open and honest about your feelings, and you have no other choice but to arrive.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, from the beginning, like, as a little kid, I always
stop moving so much.
Ma, stop correcting me during the podcast. We're live.
Okay, you still moving too much.
I'm not trying to. Like, I'm trying to keep the conversation.
Like, nervous?
I am. I'm not nervous because I mean, we have these conversations all the time, so it's like kind of like the same thing. We're gonna be talking about like how our relationship has changed over the years from adolescence to now young adulthood. So how do you feel about that? Like you think that like in comparison, like in your frame of mind, a young mother at 16, 15 years old, how has your love for me changed over the years? And you could be completely transparent.
I think when you're a young mom, you don't have time to be focused on love. You're in your mind, your love is how you provide. It's not necessarily saying I love you every 5 minutes, because that's just not real. It is, for me, mentally, it was like I go to work. She has her own bedroom with a nice bed. She has pretty much a house to herself. Like, it's nice, it's decent, it's nothing, no rats, no roaches, no, it's clean, decent neighborhood, hey, she gotta know I love her.
Right.
I wouldn't be doing all this, in my brain, that's 12 hours, 13 hours on my feet, come home, feet throbbing.
Right.
I worked long hours. I made sure she was good, nice, clean. In my brain, this is how it worked. I'm not saying it translated to I love you.
Exactly.
In my brain, that's the way that worked. I worked hard to make sure you didn't suffer and didn't grow up without. Now, you didn't get everything you wanted because you wasn't that type of kid to me. You didn't ask for everything you saw. And I'm grateful for that. That's the parent.
Yeah.
Honestly, to me, that's the parents kind of not teaching them to not value stuff, right? So to me, that's really not kids, that's parents.
I looked for thoughtfulness in my gifts, or versus like if you bought me something that I needed, I appreciated it. Like if you noticed something that I was doing, or like even with the gifts, like looking back at it, like even on Valentine's Day, like you used to bring me gifts up to school, and I was just like, I was like, oh my gosh, my mom.
And I didn't realize they didn't do that. They didn't do that here, right? Like in Florida, everybody, mom, their parents always.
Oh, I didn't know that was a thing. That's a thing.
Yeah, in Florida, it was like everybody got, the whole office would be full of stuff, which I don't know if we got nothing or not. I don't really remember. I think maybe once or twice or something, mom, but that was a big thing there. So I did it here, and I guess it was odd here because people really didn't do it. Y'all might have bought the roses that they was
Yeah,
buying in school, and that
and
might have been it.
here I am getting a whole teddy bear inside
Teddy
of a
bear,
balloon attached
balloons,
with a little gift. I'm like, okay, mom, you really did it
right?
up for you, girl.
She
I
come through
appreciate
when she can.
that. So so you feel like, since you basically, provided for me and gave me everything that I needed basically to survive, at that
That was
time,
love. That meant
that
I
was
love you.
love. Okay, so
And I know that's so not right, but that's just how it translated because that's kind of how I got it from mom.
right, exactly. And
So
your relationship with your mother also molds our relationship in some sort of fashion, or
yes,
whether it be
totally.
negative or positive. So okay,
Right.
so from initially, from that beginning of my life on into, like, when did you start to feel like it was a change, like in like a switch in our relationship? Like, at what life event, or like what time did you think that, like, okay, like, our relationship is changing into something else?
Okay, for me, okay, I'll go down the timeline. Is when I could say I noticed like major changes, like you was no longer like in love with me. Like, cause like I would say from like 1 to like 12 o'clock at night, the night before you turn 13. Like from that point, you was
Okay,
so
that's
feeling me.
dramatic.
I'm just being honest. Like this is my experience. You was so feeling me. You was so in love with your mama, honey. I just was like, my baby is everything. She is just the perfect little girl. Somebody at the salon told me, oh, she's gonna turn to a demon seed come 13. You're not gonna recognize this chick. I'm like, oh no, not my baby. Y'all just don't even understand. Like, my baby is gonna be honey, baby, 12 o'clock, 11:59.
On November
Age
3rd.
13, baby, you act like a whole nother human. I'm like, well, who is this? I feel like I'm sleeping with the enemy around here in these streets. Like, who
Or
in my house?
you felt like Tamia, there's a stranger in my
Yes, like
house.
you literally would not come out your room. You ain't want to talk to me no more. You used to be all in my bed. I would have to put you out. You don't even come in my room no more. Like, you ain't checking to see if a chick got home. Like, none of that. Like, I'm like, oh, well, who this? And you was just a whole nother human at age 13. Like, just watching you transition was so weird. Like, you was just a whole nother human. And to me, like, that's a transitional time for you, as becoming into your womanhood, as a teenager. Like, that's just a transitional time. And so I had to realize, like, she's changing, but it's not like she's changing because I took offense to it. Like, I was feeling away. I was in my
Yeah.
feelings.
Okay, so after that transition, what would you say after I moved out? How did it change from there as well?
I think by the time you hit 18, excuse me, and went off to the military.
What was your
It was
feelings about that? Like, did you think that I was actually going to go through with it, like joining the military, or like were
I
you
knew
nervous
you
about
would
me
go.
being out on my own?
I wasn't. By that time, I was exhausted on being a parent. I didn't care where you went, long as you went with me. Like, that's just being honest. It was a wrap. I'm just like, okay, God, job is done. The child ain't on drugs.
She ain't
The
on the
child,
pole.
she ain't on a stripper pole. Hey, I did my job. I'm good. So by that time, I was exhausted. I was ready for you to go see the world. Like, I wanted you to, like, not just not be with me. I wanted you to, like, go see stuff. Like, don't just be caught in the bubble of where we live. Like, it's more to this world than that. So go see it. Like, and I know, like, I definitely didn't equip you to just go see it because you was like a mama child. Like, you
I
stuck up
was a
under me
train
like glue.
wreck. Yeah, I was.
Right.
Because I'm telling you, like, after that first couple of weeks, I'm like, I want to go back home. This is not what I really thought it was gonna be. I thought
Yeah.
I didn't think it was gonna be, sugar canes and honeycombs, but I didn't think it was gonna be that, for sure.
Right. To me, I feel like parents should not stall their kids at graduation. Let them get out there and go see what the world is about, because it's only so much talking you could do. They have to go out there and experience it. They have to fall. They have to fail. They have to, because that's what makes you into the person that you are. That's what teaches you the lessons.
Okay, I successfully got through basic training in the military and all of that. After I got settled and everything, and I started to make decisions that you didn't agree with. How were you dealing with that? Because I decided to elope and marry my husband, Michael. I think I was around 20. It wasn't that long after.
I think you were like 20 or something like that. It was shortly after you left home, Lord God. For the record, I love him today. So for the record, I love my I was gonna say stepson, Jesus. Son-in-law. I love them to pieces. Like, you know, I love y'all together. I love y'all individually. And I accept y'all. But I just know you didn't know who you were. And I feel like, to me, why add marriage to that? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like piling ish on top of ish, you know, like, because eventually it all comes tumbling down. It has to eventually. And
that's a valid point.
I wanted you to figure out who you were as a person before you go tie into, because I, you know, was afraid you would start popping out babies. I'm like, oh Lord, like that is rough. You know, being a young parent, that's really hard. I would have never chose to be a young parent. I would have chosen to be a parent, but not a young parent.
Right.
Because I feel like I'm way more patient. I'm a better person today.
That was your main reservation, was me having children shortly after we got married.
Soon. Okay. Yeah, having kids too soon, because it changes your life forever. You know, it's something you can't take back. And so to me, I felt like I didn't want you to take it lightly. You know what I'm saying? Right. Like really like go into that point. Like, even if you get married, I can't control if you have baby hair. I can't control you get married. So you know, so like
you tried though. You tried.
I did. I knew I'm your mom. I know better. I know best. That's just the truth. You know, so in my brain, you know, it might not be true. To me, I was happy that you got married eventually, because I felt like, even though, okay, you out of this big old world, but now at least I know you're not by yourself. Not that you can't, but you're not.
But now that I'm older and that I've gone through life and experienced it, I can see why you would want.
You see why. It wasn't just because I didn't want you to be happy. And I'm like, girl, but okay.
Give me a break. I was 20 years old. Okay. I didn't even know how to get my oil changed, and yet I was trying to get married.
Right.
So think about the headspace a person has to be.
And drive 8 hours.
It just wasn't, you know, my brightest,
finest moment.
Yeah, it was my finest moment. There we go.
Yeah.
Okay, so after that, like after you got over the initial heartbreak, because I'm telling you, my mom was she was like, I need a drink. She was on Facebook, y'all. She was like, oh, I need a drink. I'm heartbroken. And then she had the little Bitmoji with the heart ripped out of the chest.
Oh,
on the ground.
I don't even remember.
Yeah, it's still up. It's still up there on your Facebook. You was just so heartbroken. I was like, oh no, because it finally had came out, because I had lied about it for a little while, and then I couldn't lie anymore, and I just had to come out with it
together.
Yeah,
I started putting 2 and 2 together, playing.
You and auntie just so nosy. Oh my gosh, y'all just figured it out.
You changed your last name on Facebook. What do you mean?
No, I changed it. I changed it to engaged. I didn't change it to married.
No, you changed your last name to DeAndre Williams.
Oh, did I?
Yeah, you did. And I was like, well, babe, why would you do that? You know, because you thought you and Chaz was gonna be together, and y'all not. So you might not want to jump the gun, because remember, he was getting ready to go overseas. I'm like, you might not want to jump the gun like that again, because that wasn't smart. Yeah, you was already married. You had to jump. The gun had already been all fired off. Y'all done started the race. I'm like, oh, okay, girl. Not my business.
After that situation, and we finally got through that phase in our relationship, because I think we stopped talking for like 3 months. You were so mad at me.
Lie. You stopped talking to me, but you had every right to, because I was really ugly. I was in a really ugly space, And I just didn't have nothing nice to say, but I don't think it had to do with you. I just think it had to do with me transitioning and
Yeah.
like just one of my phases. I don't think it necessarily had to do with you.
Right.
It was just me. And I
So
was mean to you. Honestly, I was. So you kind of put me on the back burner. You stopped talking to me. You put up your boundaries. And you had every right to, like,
yeah,
honestly. You should have.
shoot, I was proud of because usually I just suck it up. But
Yeah, you was a little pushover when it came to your mama.
you and Auntie, I am just a pushover. You had your, I don't know what you want to call it. Like, is it a spiritual awakening or like
I would say yes.
or like a just I don't know, because in
Kind
that
of an
time that we took
awakening
apart,
period.
you just completely like I think it was because you had so much time to yourself. Because I think you had cut everybody off. I think you stopped talking to everybody.
I did.
And then you just
And
kind of
it
like
wasn't just a spiritual awakening, it was just an awakening. Like it was just like really like sitting down and taking data and figuring out who's in my life and why and do they belong there and their role. And I'm like, you know what? I started asking so many people out, Jesus. I'm talking about it might have been 2 or 3 people left. I'm not saying like
yeah,
I'm the friend of all friends and you should care about losing me.
right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, but that's where I was at with it. Like it was just time to kind of clean house and take inventory and
Yeah, that doesn't mean that
get
they're
your life
like,
moving.
that doesn't mean that they're bad or they're but
Yeah, they
it just
totally
wasn't
not.
aligning with where you were at the time.
Exactly. Where I was at and where I was headed. So, or where I'm headed. So I think it was just, I don't know, it needed to happen. I'm thankful that it did when it did. And
Because that was
for
about
me,
like a 2-year span of you going through like that change, and then here we are now, and it's
yeah.
been inspiring to see you evolve so much because I in my mind I didn't really expect you to change because you had been the same way for so long. But the fact that you did, it just inspired me to think that you can completely change your mindset over the course of any time that you want to, but it's an option. It's not like
Yes.
you nobody is necessarily stuck in their ways. Like it is a chance for you to change
It's a
that no
choice that
matter
they,
what phase of life you're
yeah,
in.
right. It was just for me important to realize like when you figure out where you're at in life, you have to realize, okay, you're the reason you're there and you got you there. You made you made certain choices that drove you down this, drove you down this road, took you on this path, took you on this journey. And so it's up to you to fix it if you're not happy, right?
Right.
Nobody could fix it for you. So it was like for me, it was the time that I just started holding myself accountable for everything that I had done, the ugly things I have said to people and been to people. I may not have went back and apologized to everyone, but I just feel like I don't need to apologize. I need to just change my behavior and change my actions, and so that you could see that, okay, she's not the same.
Yeah, because
I don't,
apology don't mean squat if you still doing the same
right,
thing. So
right. So for me, that was my thought process. Like, just change who you are. Everything else will fall in place. And that's how I truly feel. Like you make your change for you. Everything else just it has to change with you. It has no choice.
and I have been a witness to that, like how you have evolved over the years and how you have just completely turned everything around. So
Finally.
all in all, you're my best friend and we have come a
Yep.
long way over the years. And we're just going to be giving you guys our experiences and being honest and authentic and just
I'm your best friend, but I'm still your
telling the
mama.
honest
Like
truth.
that.
I know I still have respect for you as my mother, that never goes away, but just as like a on a spiritual level, on a higher level, like I just feel more connected to you than I say a friend, or like the way
Yeah,
that we have our conversations and our talks doesn't feel like always mother and daughter talk. Sometimes it just
that's
feels like
true.
open and it just flows naturally. And before we know it, being on the phone for 2-3 hours, and
Yeah.
where did the time go?
Right. And I'm happy about that though. I'm happy that we can have that because I can't say I ever had that with my mom. And I wish I had, but I can't say we would have ever even got there. But so I'm thankful. Like I'm just thankful that we are able to like talk and be open and be honest. Like that's my main thing. Like just be authentically whoever you are. Like don't suppress that for nobody. That's my thing. And so like I'm happy we can finally like be there. Because I feel like they say you never arrive. You keep evolving on a journey, you know, but I feel like in that area we've arrived to the point where you could freely be who you are. I could freely be who I am. And it's like mad love and respect there.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. All right, so moving on to our trending topic of the day, we're going to be talking about Lawrence Smithfield. Do you know about the case?
What's that?
Okay, so basically it's this young, beautiful Black woman. She met this guy. She's around my age. I think might be like 23 or 24. I don't think she's 25. She basically met this guy on Hinge, the dating app. Okay.
Was I supposed to do homework on this?
No, it's okay. I can just let you know, and after you can look it up and see like what it's about. She met this guy. They had like he came over, and the next day they found her body, like she was dead. Like, and they said that they let him go because he seemed like a nice guy, and they closed the investigation. Yeah. Yeah, they just let him go. And like once TikTok got a hold of, you know how TikTok do, everything started going viral, and it brought more attention to the case, and they reopened it because they found her dead, bleeding out of the nose, and he admitted to having sex with her or whatever, but it seemed like she was drugged, like she had an overdose or something, and they just kind of closed the case. And
were they at her house or his house?
They were at her house, and they were drinking and watching movies, and she felt sick, so she threw up. She came back, and they were continuing the night. She got tired and went to sleep, and he went to sleep with her. He said that he woke up at around 6:00. She was fine, and then he got back in bed and woke up again around 9:00, and he found her basically bleeding out of the nose, dead, and he called the police. What about you as a parent? Like, because I met Michael on a Tinder app, so like,
I found that out after the fact.
So how, like, just putting yourself in the parent's shoes, like, from a parent's perspective, like, how would you feel about the case?
Of course you want people to exhaust all resources to figure out what truly happened. You know what I'm saying? There's only so much you could do. I don't know, it sounds suspicious. I would have to figure out a little bit more, girl. We'll be done hired our own detectives trying to figure this crap out.
True.
If it was me, you know what I'm saying? You try to exhaust everything, but it's only so much money you have. It's only so much,
resources and
so many resources that you do have. So it's only so much you could do. But I think for me, just dating online is scary, but dating in person is scary. Like some people
no
you meet in person, they still turn out not to be who they say or who they portray themselves to be. Like they leave from state to state, and
you never know.
You don't know their total past unless you just do a background check, which I would at this point. I will Google anybody.
Yeah, especially meeting people online. Yeah, it's not too far-fetched or too crazy to be
right
stuff like that.
Right. So it's only so much, like, as a parent you could do. Like, things are changing, things are evolving. That's not the way we met people back in my day. You know what I'm saying?
Back in my day.
That wasn't it, so it's like things are changing. It's only so much you gotta change with the times. Just is what it is.
Right. Okay. Well, yeah, that's a valid perspective. I just hope and wish the best for her family, as they're going through that tough time.
Right.
But this is us closing out the podcast. Should've, would've, could've. Y'all go follow my mother on her social media platforms and follow me as well. Did you want to go ahead and spell out what you want them, because she is a hairstylist.
Girl, I don't know those platforms. I don't know.
Ma, I'm gonna need you to know better. You're supposed to be marketing, ma'am.
I will figure them out. We'll revisit
I'll just put them at the bottom of the video.
Help me out.
Completely lost in this house. Follow me on all platforms. All my platforms are the Lakay, TheeLakay. And y'all, have a good evening.
Right.
Are you gonna give your outro? Have a good evening.
Bye, y'all.
Bye, y'all. Peace.
This country blanking.